Okay, so most of you started understanding JSON Power DB, and like some of you are new to it. So I will just take a basic revision of features of JSON Power DB. So it's a database. You can say it's a document-oriented database similar to MongoDB, but it is a multi-mode database actually. It is simple. It is schema free. You did not to define any kind of schema in this database. So it will automatically index each and every data. So whatever you keep on inserting in the documents or the data inside this database, it automatically index every data. So it's schema free, and it even has a feature of RDBMS where you can use JSON Power DB as relational database. So its relational database feature are basically dynamic. So while inserting data, you can only define your primary key, foreign key, unique keys, all this. You need not to define inside the database or inside the table. So this will allow you to change dynamically primary keys, foreign keys, and unique keys also. It has a serverless support. It means normally you must have heard about MVC, Model View Controller. So model is data, view is front end, and controller is actually the in-between layer where you control your business logic. So JSON Power DB has a serverless support where you can eliminate middle layer because you can directly call database API from the front end, like from front end UI. So normally in most of the programming language, either PHP, Java, or any other .NET, whatever programming language you use, you normally need a programming language in between. But in JSON Power DB, you can directly call server APIs like JSON Power DB APIs from the front end, from JavaScript, HTML, or front end technologies. Another difference, if you say between MongoDB and the JSON Power DB is actually MongoDB is basically a document-oriented database, whereas JSON Power DB is not only document-oriented database, but also all its communication is in JSON form, in document form. So the complete database you can say is a pure JSON database where every request, every response is a JSON, and like every data stores in JSON format. So why multimode? Because it's a document oriented, it is RDBMS. It also has key value pair database features, time series database feature, as well as geospatial database APIs. Uh, it is built around the fastest indexing engine, Power Index. So Power Index is another product of Login to Explore. That is one of the fastest indexing engine available. So we did some POCs for that, and like this is basically the base where we realized that this indexing engine should be used, and we have created JSON Power DB around this indexing engine. So I will take some time later on a separate presentation on features of Power Index, and will give you a demo of how Power Index works and how fast it is in compared to other indexing engines. REST-based API, so low development, low maintenance cost. Now, for this session, we will be looking for pluggable API. Pluggable API is another, you can say, unique feature of JSON Power DB where you can add new APIs in database itself. If I want to compare this with, you can say, any of the database like Oracle database or MySQL database, you are not allowed to add new commands in those database. You are not allowed to modify its existing commands. But now JSON Power DB will allow you to create new commands, then modify, then release new commands, version 1, version 2, like this, dynamically. So like if some JSON Power DB is running somewhere, you can create an API command, your own, and then just plug in it into the database and it will start working. So we'll see a small demo of this pluggable feature, and going forward, we'll see advanced features also of pluggable API. Currently, Umang is working on developing Drive pluggable APIs where you can upload files, pictures, download file pictures, and many other such features inside JSON Power DB using pluggable API. Inbuilt support for querying multiple databases. So normally we do query in a single database, but JSON Power DB allows you to send a query on multiple database with this same performance and same security, and like you can say it's really very useful when you have different databases and you can send a query across the database to find your data. Then multiple security layers are there, and then server side native NoSQL. So it also has the NoSQL programming support where you can write any kind of code in the NoSQL, NoSQL programming. And it's a native because this NoSQL is in Java only. So these are few of the features of JSON Power DB. But now today's our basically this session is for pluggable API. So add new features and functionality to JSON Power DB using pluggable API. Customize API as per individual client's requirements. Suppose some of our client is using JSON Power DB instance, so they can we can customize API for them and then give those APIs to individual clients. So suppose it's very difficult for any of the database. Suppose someone is using MySQL. MySQL is used by many clients, but a particular client needs a particular feature in MySQL. So it is very difficult for the developer of MySQL to provide a single separate feature to that client because their product MySQL does not allow this. But JSON Power DB allows us to do that. So if we will be having suppose 2-3 clients, and every client has a different requirement for new database API, we can do that. We can customize individual API because of this pluggable feature and give that API to particular client. Now client can have their own serverless DBMS functionality. Even we are providing client to develop their own commands inside our database. So they can develop it, they can plug it in into their own JSON Power DB instance. Plugin APIs can be published as open source. So this is our near future plan, like to start providing pluggable API as open source on some of the open source platforms. So if some API, for example, like Umang is developing upload and download API for files, pictures, videos. So those API can be created as open source and published, say, on GitHub. So anybody can download that pluggable API and insert that into their JSON Power DB instance to use it. So this is one example. Like this is our plan of action. Like we will be coming out with this kind of stuff also soon. Program with core JSON Power DB interface and data structures. So like when you work on pluggable API, on development of pluggable API, you will have access to inner interfaces and functionalities of JSON Power DB, where you can like work on JSON Power DB's internal database related API, internal key value pair related API, geospatial related, not API, but internal interfaces. So you will have core access to JSON Power DB functionalities. And then you can upload and plug in with zero downtime. So whenever you are uploading some API to a JSON Power DB instance, there will be a zero downtime. So on the running instance, you can plug it in and start using it. So we will see this today with some small example. Although that example is not accessing database interface and functionality of JSON Power DB, but we are just making a simple serverless pluggable API. So like there is a problem, somebody wants to create a JSON Power DB serverless pluggable API to find a middle number amongst three different numbers, that is A, B, and C. So just read this question carefully to understand it, and let's see like how we are going to code this inside the JSON Power DB. So yeah, any question till now? So I am going inside now into the programming. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. So like.
So I guess you can proceed further.
Mhm. So there is a project, NetBeans Java project, JPDB pluggable API. And if you see, there are many pluggable APIs available, but I am not going on details of these. I will take a simple, the problem that we just saw, middle number amongst three different numbers. So this is like find middle.java. So the important thing is when you create a pluggable REST-based API, you need an endpoint. So this is going to be the API's part of endpoint, like slash middle of three. This method, in this method, you can define your endpoint and part of endpoint. So the endpoint will become now the package name jpdb.ex.middle.v01 instead of .use slash jpdb/ex/middle/v01 slash middle of 3. So this will become your overall become endpoint for like accessing this API. Then another method that you needs to override. So like you have to implement this interface, pluggable API interface, when you are creating your pluggable API. And this interface has few methods, out of which one is get API endpoint and another one is execute API. So if you see, this method runs automatically when the API is hit by a request. So whenever a request hit at this endpoint, this method will get automatically executed. So you will receive a request and request object, and then you will also have a response object where you can send the response. And this string builder we have used for some kind of response to be accumulated in this. Now, once we are in execute API, the response is response string. So this part actually process the request and convert it into the response. So this response will go back to the caller of the REST API, like Talend or your program in Java or JavaScript. Now, because now I have created an inner class, three numbers here. So this is a simple class like you normally create in Java for say shape class, rectangle, etc. Rectangle, square, etc. So I have taken three variables A, B, C, where I want that request that is containing these three numbers from which I have to find middle number. So this is not a necessity. These two methods are necessity because you have to override these two methods, get endpoint and execute API. But this is like your processing requirements. So normally best practice while creating pluggable API is to declare an inner class for your request. So our request has three elements. So I have created this, and like you can say getter and setter methods, and then a toString method. So this is a simple three number bean class or entity class where getter setter are there and three numbers are there. Then if you see request params, parse request params. So now I am passing a request object, response object, and string builder for messages. So this is a method. This will parse the request object and convert it into three numbers entity class, A, B, and C, where it contains A, B, and C. So what I did is from request, I take the request body. This, if this body is not present or it is empty, what I did is I have appended a message in string builder request not found and returned null from here. After that, if this condition is wrong, it means request body is present. So I have parsed this request body using JSON parser and stored it in a JSON object. So this JSON object class is from a Java library json.simple. So I think some of you are not still aware of this, but it's a simple library which works on JSON objects, JSON request and response. And I think soon you will be learning this, how to use json.simple Java library for JSON parsing. It's similar to, you can say, JavaScript JSON parsing. So there also, like in JavaScript, you have parse and stringify. So similar to that, it converts into Java JSON object. Now here comes validator. So this is another automatic feature of pluggable API where you can validate your request. So the validation happens by calling this valid syntax method and passing API validator. Now what is this API validator? If you see, this is API validator instance, array of API validators. What I did is, you see, this array is zeroth element. I have created three elements. API syntax validator. This A is a variable in the request, B is another variable, C is another variable. True means required. If it is false, means optional. So the request must contain A because this is true. Then the value of A should be long. So this validates it. And suppose if value is not present, so it will give a message A is empty. So this validates the JSON object, the keys in the JSON object, A, B, and C. They must present. So this creates a validator instance, API validator. And these three are the error messages that are used in this. So a validator takes four arguments. First is the key, second is its necessity, it is required or not. Third one is its data type, and fourth one is message. So this validator, when we use this validator here, API syntax validator dot validate syntax, and this array, and then request object from which it validates, and a string builder for message. Suppose it is not able to validate it, there is some error, it will return null. And that error will be part of this string builder there. Similar to this, request not found. This is in string builder and return null. So here this error will come from validator. Validator, you need not to write validator code. You just need to pass the array of whatever you want to validate, and it will return errors if error present, and then from here it will return null. Now we have this object with us. Like we have created a new 3 numbers, like it's an empty object. And then because our request is validated, we have used setter method set a, b, c, and we have taken out a, b, c from the request object, converted into long, and then stored in this 3 numbers class object. Now here are the errors. So because the question is all the 3 numbers must be different. So if all the 3 numbers are same, the error is all 3 numbers in parameter are same, and it will return null. So in any of the any kind of error, you have to return null. Then if A and B are same, it will return A and B are same. So similarly, A and C and B. If there is no error, it will return this object, 3 numbers object. It means every parameter is correct. Now we have to find which is the middle number, because all the parameters are same. So now going back to the caller of this method, we have called this method from here. And now we have request param. So at every error, we have written null. So if this is null, then we have created a response with error 400, converted these messages to string builder 2, and then the whole JSON object is converted to a string and response string, and this response string is returned. So this is any kind of error will get written from here. Now, if this condition is wrong, it means we have proper request parameters A, B, and C. So what we can do is we can create a response JSON object, and then we are calling a method find middle number. So we have request param, we have response JSON object, and we have string builder, and we go inside this method. We have taken out A, B, and C. We have created a hash map for response hash map, because that library JSON.simple allows us to convert hash map to JSON object easily. Like this. This is response JSON object, put all hash map. It will put all the values from hash map inside this response JSON object. So we have taken 3 parameters. Response hash map, empty hash map is there, and then we have a utility method, middle middle number, where we send these 3 values, A, B, and C, this response hash map, and any error message for that is string builder. Now go inside this. You will see this is a simple logic. We are not going in detail of this logic, but this will find like this will put in hash map which is middle, B is middle, or C is middle, or A is middle, and its value. And at the end, it is returning success message, like success in finding middle number. Now the question is that why we have written this find middle number here, not here. Like we can also write this method inside this code, but we have not written this. The reason behind this is this takes request and response JSON object, basically request params. So this is part of JSON API, REST API. But this method do not need any kind of REST or JSON thing. It's a simple Java method. Like if you write a Java method to add 2 numbers, so what you can do, add, and in bracket int a comma int b, and it will, and then inside method you can write return a plus b. So this is a plain Java method. So this plain Java method is in utility class, And if it is needed by some other API, that API can use this logic. So this is a reusable function. Reusable anywhere inside that Java bunch of API or Java code anywhere in JSON PowerDB. This becomes reusable. Whereas this is dependent on this particular API request. This API request. Because this is inside find middle. So this method is dependent on REST API syntax. If that syntax is valid, only this method is valid. So this is a wrapper method of a plain Java method in which you can just pass 3 values and it will return the middle number. Are you getting my point? Jen, Diksha?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Anshika.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a pure Java method where ABC can be passed, whereas this is where you need this 3 numbers object and response object. So response object is basically JSON object, whereas what we are doing is here we are sending response hash map. So hash map is pure Java data structure. So this makes it pure Java function and can be used anywhere in the pluggable API framework. Okay, so now I want to run this to use it. So to execute this, main method is here in this project. So whatever pluggable API we need to run, we need to define here. Load defined API class find middle dot class. Okay, then ping dot class. Find middle with exception handling. So this is a different program we will see later on. So, and there are remove column, copy column, all these are pluggable API. So I'm running this source code. This is a JSON PowerDB itself, and we are running it. It is running on port 5511. Okay, so now moving to this. So I will select a localhost environment. This is my localhost environment. If you see, the base URL is localhost 5511. This is I have set the environment that just Jayant has taken a separate module for understanding about the environment and a token. So this is localhost token. If you see my request, I have token given, this token is given here in header. And this is the base URL that comes from the environment. And this is the endpoint URL. This is a package name. Sorry, I am calling different URL, a different API. So this is the API. So this is base URL from this environment. And then this is JPDB, JPDB EX middle V01. This is package of the class, package of this class. Find middle. So if you see, this package will become the path. JPDBX middle V01. So this becomes the path, and then this is the endpoint of the endpoint URL. This is defined inside here. So this becomes the API. And I am sending a request, A, B, and C. If you see, there are two numbers, 55, 55 are same. See, parameter A and B are same, status 400. And it's there in the code. In parsing, this method parse. And if you see, A and B are same. This one, parameter A and B are same and return null. And if you see, when this return null, if this is null, it is setting response 400, data empty, and this message into the string. And then converted that into a string and return this string. So this string comes as a response. So this is status 400, data is empty, and message is parameter A and B are same. Okay, let me change it. I will make it 55 here and send it. Now the message is all three numbers in parameter are same, status 400. Because we are sending response correctly, so the overall HTTP response is 200, but our internal status is 400 because we need three different parameters. Now I make it three different. Now if you see, 55 is the middle number and that is C. C, data, C55, message success in finding middle number. So this is, we have created a serverless API in JSON Power DB using pluggable API, and this is the endpoint URL for this. This is request. If I don't give this A and send it, you will see A is empty. This comes from the validator. If you see validator, this is A is empty. So if you see A is compulsory, true, and it must be long. So suppose what I can do is I can give here A colon and say string and send the request. So validator will validate, and you can see A should be of type class java.lang.long. Status is 400. So this error comes from the validator. So it validates the request properly, and if everything is okay, then it will give the correct response. Now you will say, what is pluggable? Because this is not pluggable inside this project. This project is for developers like you. You can develop API here, but how to plug it into the running instance? So I will show you a running instance in my other environment. So this environment is api.jsonpowerdb.com 5572. And if I run this same thing in this environment has base URL of api.jsonpowerdb.com and a different token. And if I run here, API not found, because this API is not present in running instance of api.jsonpowerdb.com. And now I want to plug in this API into this running instance. So how I can plug it in? I open a new window, go to api.jsonpowerdb.com 5572 company dashboard. Like you must be aware of user dashboard that you normally use. This is user dashboard. This you must be aware of. Like you must be using it at api.logintoexplore.com. This is a similar another instance of JSON Power DB, api.jsonpowerdb.com. So like a user dashboard, there is a company dashboard. So the company that purchased the JSON Power DB will have right to go inside the company dashboard. And all the developers, those are working in that company, can only use user dashboard. So I go inside this. So this is basically company dashboard. You can see some different thing. 45 days. It is running since last 45 days. You can save the instance. You can stop this instance. So these are rights of company. There are 13 active users, 1000 users allowed. So these are some of the stats. You can see how many CPUs, how much memory it is using and all those stuff. So here there is the option of pluggable API. Now it is asking choose a file like which you want to plug in. Select this file from your project. That project exists in NB workspace PI0 through 32 and this is your project. Go inside source, JPDB, EX, the package, middle, V01 and this find middle Java file. And find util because find util is also part of this because there is a call from find middle to find utils. But find utils is already at this server because I have already plugged in this particular API. So that's why it is present there. So I just plug in find middle. I open this. I want to see the content. So this is the content and just load all. So API is now ready to use. This is just plugged in into the running JSON Power DB. And now this particular running JSON Power DB can use this function which was not running earlier. Here, okay, here. So we saw that 404 not found. Message API not found. But now because this API is plugged in into this instance, so now this instance will have running API. And when I just send this request, you will see the response. So this is how you can plug in the pluggable API inside a running instance. So plugin is very simple. Just go upload, choose the file and then load all. And all the files get uploaded to the running instance. And if you want to see what all APIs present here, so manage API, JPDB, select another package like IML, select package drive and column. So you can see like in the version 01, you can see these many pluggable API already running here. Change column type, remove column, column utils, rename column and copy column. So these pluggable API are not serverless, they are database APIs. And they will change the name of column, rename the column, remove the column from your database or copy the column. But this is a separate topic that you can learn while when you use the APIs from help. But yeah, this is the way like you can check how many pluggable APIs are already there. So this is basically through company dashboard. So till now, any question?
Sir, can you please explain that environment thing once again? Like one
Okay,
environment and different instances. What was that?
okay. I will explain it in a bit. But like related to pluggable API, any question?
No, sir.
Diksha?
No, sir.
Okay, great.